Well, greetings, Commanders. For those of you who don't know exactly where I am, I'm standing underneath the hauler, the space van, for want of a better word. And I'm here to showcase the thing that the hauler is best known for. Its single small hardpoint. Oh man. But having said that though, I'm roughly stood on the ground on the actual deck here to give you a sense of scale of where we're at. These doors that are open come to about here. So I'm 6 foot tall. Yeah, I could definitely walk under these doors that open up next to the hard point when it's stationary on the ground. And in terms of the hard point itself, if I reach up as high as I can reach, I can touch the bottom part of the hard point there. And the hard point itself is fairly large. It comes from here and ends there. So I would estimate 2 meters in length. So probably, or maybe just under, maybe 5 foot in length, roughly from point to end. So substantial, most definitely substantial. Here is the hatch for the gear, and I'm wondering if I can step through it or stick my head through it to show you the inside. There we are. So the landing gear is actually huge, obviously, because everything in ED is huge. And those feet down there are about... So you know how the Volkswagen Beetle has a bit of a curvy shape? If you lay it on its side and chop away the very front and the very back, that's about the curve and size of that landing strut. So that gives you an idea of the scale, and it comes up to attach to the bottom of the hauler at about 3 meters maybe, roughly, in height. And I keep skipping between metric and imperial because, well, some of you use one and some of you use the other. You'll have to just convert one to the other. Those handles up there, there is absolutely no way I could grab them. They are extremely, extremely high up. And those thrusters there are about that sort of size, roughly. So that gives you an idea of the underside of the hauler. Certainly it is much larger than I certainly expected when I was playing just in pancake version, but in VR you get much more of a sense of the size of things, and I'm hopefully trying to compare them to real world places and things. So let's jump inside. So here we are in the regular position that you know and love. Now, unlike what I actually thought when I was looking at this in 2D, there is no way that you can reach any of these handles or anything that is around you. It's actually a much larger space than you would expect. So for reference, if you haven't watched my other videos, the space that I'm playing in is 3.6 by 3.6 meters. And on an angle, as I have justified myself here, I can just about get to all the aspects of this cockpit. Now there's a graphical glitch there, which is the landing gear coming through the floor. Obviously you can't see those in first-person mode, so there's no issue. So to give you the idea, the cockpit area here, the canopy area, is probably 3.6 meters by 3.6 meters, roughly. It's probably the closest one that matches this area. So what I'll do is I'll walk around and I'll show you bits, and I'll try not to reset myself, and you can get a real-world perspective of where I am. So starting over here from the door, it's fairly plain, the interior here. There's a few panels which look like they could be openable, but without any handles. So obviously this is one of the earlier ships before it was all redone nicely for the latest iteration, so the detail is much lower than those. Through there, the grab handle is certainly a human-sized fist grab handle, and these seem to be slots for some sort of drives or something or other. Very strange. In terms of the roof height from standing, again, I'm about 6 feet tall. I would just be able to, like that, grab that grab handle in the center above the commander, but only barely. So that gives you an idea. It's about 2.4, 2.5 meters in height to be able to get to that grab handle there. Over the side here, there's little bits of greebling here connecting something to the side wall and some sort of a cover of something else, and quite a few sort of storage hatches there around the outside. I'm going to stick my head into them to see if there's anything interior. Nope. Over here we have some sort of a display panel with zeros and dots and lines. Okay, I'm sure by 3305 it makes sense. And some wires that head in there behind that console and down there into the ground. Nothing very interesting down there. More towards the front here, we have the other edges of the dash here, and if we look underneath, there's sort of a second layer of material, but then nothing else apart from a little cupboard down there. Here the emitter for the actual ship hologram is about the size of a dinner plate, which seems to be what happens in the small ships. And here we have another little panel with no detail whatsoever. Again, this is the way these ships were made to begin with. The floor is made of what looks like textured metal, maybe textured rubber, with some sort of a hatch going straight down into the ground there. The seat with old Headless there, hello Headless. I will give you a proper rundown of the seats and what they look like in other videos, and the commander scale is in the Sidewinder video if you want to watch that one. The main emitter here is actually not a circular shape, it's a bit of an oval, but it's about 70 centimeters in diameter, so reasonably sizable for what it is. At the very front of the dash here you have two little blue, maybe LEDs, and one sort of green LED that potentially indicate a thing. The front of the ship probably only extends another 5 to 6 feet out in front of where this dashboard ends. Over here and on either side we have these large heating ducts slash air conditioning ducts or vents, and they don't really have an interior. Continuing on, another small LED light, a couple more cabinets, another orange light there, same indicator as on the other side, and more of these storage compartments around the sides, but nothing much more interesting than that. And the greebling and covers on this side are a direct carbon copy of the other side. And here as we're standing, you're starting to see some gaps in the cockpit, and you can actually see down onto the ground, which you shouldn't be able to see. That's obviously one of the tricks of VR. So then if we head back towards the back door, I won't quite make it in this configuration, but there I'm just about touching it with my hand, just to give you the idea of scale of where we are in terms of this room. So that was not resetting the room at all, and you can see how much crawling around I had to do to get to all the different aspects of the cockpit. Alright Headless, are you ready to break their immersion significantly? Well, I mean you're headless, so you can't tell me no. So now we are going to head straight through this door and see what's on the other side. Are you ready? Don't expect too much. Here we go. Right, so here we are faced with the interior, for want of a better word, of the ship itself. So straight ahead of you, you can see the cargo bay, or the outside of the cargo bay, and what it would look like from the outside. And straight underneath us is an interesting feature, which is the actual landing gear and the ladder that comes up from the landing gear in the middle of the landing gear to go up into the ship itself. So this is actually quite proper in terms of dimensions. Once they do the interior, this will actually fit reasonably well. You would climb up these stairs, there'd be some sort of a landing there, and then maybe a walk around, walk around to get to the back of the door here, and then you would walk in and into the cockpit itself. So it seems quite proper. Let's go back out again. And here you can see the single small hardpoint, which as previous videos is about 6 feet in depth and about the dimensions of a single person bathtub. So there's not a huge amount left to do in here other than to take it for a spin and show you this single hardpoint deploying and maybe open up the cargo scoop. So as you can see, the landing gear there retracts. Let's look at the landing gear down here, and that comes up like that. Now that is possibly where that graphical glitch comes from, I'm not sure. Now the landing gear have disappeared after some time. Here we can see the interiors of the thrusters working their magic, and you can see the rear engines there, as well as the lateral thrusters. And if you suffer from vertigo, I would not recommend doing this in VR at all. Alright, so we are going to boost out of here a little bit, get a bit further away from the station itself. Alright, I think we're now far enough away from the station not to anger the authorities, and I will now deploy the small hardpoint. So out it goes with its little red light. Interestingly, some of the other small hardpoints, the sections there that are coloured in grey, are actually see-through. Here, for whatever reason, it is opaque. And if we fire the little pew-pew, there it goes. That also gives you some indication of where the hardpoint actually is. So if we go back again through here, through the door, and looking down, that's where the hardpoint actually is on this hauler. I didn't realise, to be honest, that it was so far offset to one side. Alright, so now we're just going to do a bit of an auto dock. So I'm just going to move myself over here so that we can watch the gear deploy down here in front of the ship. Obviously now I've totally ruptured all semblance of immersion because the cockpit is a little box that sits out the front over there. But let's look down and watch as the gear comes in. There we are. So as you can see, it's huge and sitting there. And there it goes, deploying down on towards the ground. And if we move ourselves further this way, you can sort of have the gear view as the hauler comes down and eventually gets itself settled down into place. Excellent. So there we are, Commanders. Quick look at the hauler, the space van. Probably one of the first cargo ships that you'll ever get, and certainly the first one I ever got. There's my commander there, and there's Captain Headless over there. So, hope you enjoyed that look at the hauler. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, show everyone you can, and do all the things. And I'll see you in the next one with yet another ship from Elite Dangerous. Fly safe, Commanders.